Hello tacticians, in this video we're going to be looking at Lucius the Eternal, the champion of Slaanesh, and oh boy am I looking forward to this one. As you may know, I am collecting these for the tabletop, so I hope the translation to the game goes well. As always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, whether it's through subscribing or use my friend code, it really does help me out. And also for every 1,000 subs I get a new community code for character shards to give out, so there's no reason not to hit that sub button. So, let's start with the traits. Of course, he is part of the Emperor's Children army, which isn't too surprising. The Thrill Seeker's trait is probably what is going to be the faction trait, which means each turn when it takes damage or they target an enemy with full health, he will become thrilled for 1 round. And whilst thrilled, the crit chance is increased by 15%. And if it defeats an enemy with crit, that enemy is always overkilled, which is a very nice touch. Now, let's just take a moment. Quite often, everyone likes using the bolt pistols for their 35% crit chance. Obviously, with that thrilled, that takes it up to 50. But I guess if you really want that extra damage, and if I go to the rare one just to make it fair, you can get extra damage out of the knife and keep your crit chance the same. However, I would say keep the bolt pistols as you do want those crits for those overkills. His second trait is parry, which means he'll reduce the number of melee multi-hit attacks by 1 hit to a minimum of 1, which gives him a little bit of survivability in combat. So, let's have a look at his skills. His active skill is the Lash of Torment, where he will deal 6 lots of eviscerating damage to an enemy unit within range 2. So he's got a bit of a ranged attack with him as well. If the target is not already adjacent to Lucius, he is then pulled 1 hex towards him if possible, and can be pulled over any elevation but not through impassable terrain. If the target is adjacent to Lucius after the attack, he will then be taunted for a number of rounds. And all of that is just something that screams Lucius. He wants to keep those characters locked into combat so he can prove that he's the best. But unfortunately for Lucius, if he's not the best, he has got the Armour of Shrieking Souls, which is his passive ability, to back him up. So if he is defeated by an enemy, that enemy becomes elated. At the beginning of each of its turns, that unit will lose health. And when it is defeated, Lucius will resurrect on the hex it was defeated on, with his health set to a certain amount. So, assuming you unlock this character, you want both of these skills leveled up to the maximum that they can be. So let's have a look at him on the battlefield. Let's start with the usual test of how he fares against a sniper shot. So there was no crit there and, well, wasn't very impressive. So let's try that again, looking for a crit. And this time if we move and there is a crit, we're down to maybe a quarter of his health. And because he's been hit, he's then got that Thrill Seeker's buff as well, increasing the crit chance by 15%, giving a total of 53% crit chance. So, to be honest, this isn't terrible for Lucius. He kind of wants to be hurt, and obviously now that he's in position, we can use his Lash of Torment on, say, a healer to bring that 1 step closer to the rest of your characters to then be killed. And of course, he's taunting her for a number of turns too. So all of this is already a great kit, but Lucius is in a terrible position right now, and what's going to happen on the enemy turn? Well, he's going to die. And as you can see, Sword Brother Godswill now has that Armour of Shrieking Souls debuff, which means he's going to be losing health every turn. So let's keep an eye on this, and as we go into his turn, he takes the damage, but someone like Isabella next to him will heal the damage as he takes that damage. And obviously you can heal him. But the heal won't get rid of that debuff. Now, if we just move Sword Brother on his own somewhere and skip a few turns, you'll see every turn he'll end up taking damage. So this is probably where he's going to die, and Lucius reappears. Of course, you then have your turn to do whatever you want to Lucius, and if you kill him again, obviously that debuff would come back. Just like that. And it's now on Calandis. So this isn't a one and done thing. This will keep happening. But what if the enemy kills your character before you just die from the effect of the Armour of Shrieking Souls. Well, let's take Harkin here and kill Swordbrother Godswill. You can see Lucius comes back, but he can't do anything. So you're still going to have that one turn again to take care of Lucius. And if you look at his health, it does look like he comes back on pretty much full health as long as you keep that passive as high as possible. And if you look up here, you'll see the Lash of Torment is greyed out, so he won't be able to use that again. And one final question. Will that Armour of Shrieking Souls work against boss fights in the event that Lucius does die? So we'll attack. The avatar will have its turn, kills off Lucius, and you'll see that it now has that Armour of Shrieking Souls. So, whilst you don't really want Lucius to die, even if he does, he will have a minor effect on the battle. Is Lucius the Eternal a good character? Well, yes and no, and we're going to start with the negatives. For guild raids, he is not replacing anyone in the multi-hit team. He just doesn't have a kit suitable. Probably the best bit about him is his movement 4 and that extra 15% crit rate. But you only get that if the enemy is on full health or Lucius has been damaged, which I suppose you could do by standing on a fire hex. But really, there's nothing else that he adds to that team. However, moving across to the PvP side of things, this guy is an absolute S-tier god. Because of the fact there are many characters there who could be on full health or are indeed hitting him. And even if he dies, he's going to be causing damage, and when they die, you get your character back. For PvP, whether it's Tournament Arena, the Guild Wars, or even the normal arena, he is going to be absolutely fantastic. And finally, you've got the legendary events. And again, this guy is going to be an absolute godsend in those as well, because it doesn't matter again if he dies. He will eventually kill whatever it was that killed him, pop back, and you're either going to use him again on multiple other enemies, or he's going to die again and do the same thing again. There's no reason not to have him. And overall, that just makes him fantastic. The problem, of course, is he is locked behind his own legendary event, and you have to unlock him first. And I sincerely wish you all the best in doing just that.